No matter how many times I tried to brush it aside, I still couldn't get my mind off of what had just occurred earlier. What if, what if Ren was interested in her? Granted, he probably shouldn't have blatantly flirted with her while on a date with me, but he wasn't exactly the most confident guy. Would he still be able to talk to her again if things didn't work out between us? No, I shouldn't be thinking like that. Peering up to gauge his expression, I noticed how he didn't really look all that upset after about leaving her. If anything, he seemed rather content to be walking down the street with his fingers intertwined with mine once more. I can feel him give my hand a protective squeeze as he looks down at me with his soft blue eyes, and all of my worries somehow melt away. Oh, maybe I did make the right choice after all. It might have been selfish, but it was worth having Ren look at me with such a gentle expression. Eventually, the sun starts to set behind the ocean as Ren and I continue to walk along the beach walk. Most of the conversation was geared towards me and my interests again, but every time I tried to learn more about Ren, he only seemed to divert the conversation back to me once more. Hmm. But the more I focused on his odd behavior, the more I began to pick up on his social habits as well. I learned that Ren would subtly pick up the sleeves of his cardigan whenever he got nervous, or how he'd or how he'd scratch at his jaw whenever the conversation strayed down a path he didn't feel comfortable with. His little quirks told me more about himself than the dead end conversations that only led back to me, and I was content with knowing more about him than I did yesterday. Ren no longer felt like a stranger I had met at a library, but rather someone I could consider a friend. Damn. I'm I guess spending a day with someone might do that. But still, that seems kind of. He hasn't talked about himself at all. It's kind of concerning. Except friends aren't supposed to get jealous whenever they see them flirt with someone else. Yeah, that is a little weird. Geez, what was wrong with me? It had barely been 2 days, and I was already contemplating whether or not I truly saw Ren in a romantic light. Was I going too fast? All of these thoughts were starting to get a bit overwhelming, and no, I just have the Ren brain rot. Angel? Hello? Huh? You're spacing out on me again. There's that look again. He keeps peering down at me with so much adoration in his eyes. And if I didn't know any better, I would think that he was already halfway in love with me. But that was a very conceited thought and probably wasn't even true. Oh, sorry, I was just. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I was just thinking about things. Are you are you going to share those things with the rest of the class? He sends me a playful smile and a gentle nudge into my side, and I couldn't help but laugh. When did we become so comfortable with each other, and when did he lose his stutter? It's nothing, really. Maybe a bit embarrassing, but, well, I was wondering, how do you feel about... My sentence gets cut short when a drop of rain lands on my cheek. Instinctively, I look up and find myself wondering how I didn't notice those dark clouds in the sky sooner. Because I was in love. All of a sudden, more droplets fall down until it's all but pouring rain and forcing everyone in the area to find cover. Hold on a sec. Mm. I don't think that is doing anything for the rain sound effects, so uh alright, whatever. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. All of a sudden, more droplets fall down until it's all but pouring rain and forcing everyone in the area to find cover. Over here. Ren doesn't seem to pay much attention when he grabs me by the hand and pulls me underneath one of the awnings of a nearby building. He shields me from the rain with his body, and I couldn't help but feel tiny with the way his arms cage me and as he rests them against the wall. Am I being cabadonned right now? This man is already cabadonning me. We met yesterday. Wow, holding my hand, calling himself my boyfriend, and now he's cabadonning me. That's this moved fast. Shields, I couldn't help but feel tiny with the wait. Yeah, I mean, I can't help but feel tiny next to him anyway. Like, he's what, taller than 6 foot? Like, damn. Mm. Mm. We look at each other in silence for a brief moment before erupting in laughter. Perhaps it was because of the adrenaline from all the panicked running or the fact that Ren's hair was starting to lose its fluffiness, but I couldn't hold back from letting out a fit of giggles. This only seemed to spur Ren on as well, until we're both wheezing out our lungs and gulping down air. I can't remember the last time I ran that fast. Me too. The looming sound of thunder echoes from afar and drowns out our laughter until we're both silent once more. Once we both calm down, Ren moves me further away from the rain before casting a glance behind him. Wait here. I'll buy us an umbrella so we can get out of this rain. But you'll get soaked. 'Tis a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I roll my eyes at his corny joke and send him off with an amused smile. He doesn't look back before he makes a mad dash out into the rain and down the street towards the closest convenience store. Though the rain only seems to get heavier the moment he leaves, and I find myself pressing even further against the wall behind me to avoid the recoil of the rain bouncing off the pavement. There wasn't much for me to do while I waited for Ren to return, aside from watching people scramble around for shelter. And just like that, the carefree sounds of laughter echoing from down the street captured my attention as I watched Leon, Tio, and Jay all run to cover like their life depended on it. Well, it seems as though their beach outing got cut short as well. Glancing back once more, I barely make out the figure of Leon, using his bag as a makeshift umbrella as he ducks under one of the awnings of an ice cream stand. All while Tio and Jay trail behind at a leisurely pace, kicking and splashing water at each other in the rain. I had to look away at the moment Tio started to remove his shirt, and I had an inkling that it was so that he could show off. What a tool. And knowing Jaehyun, he'd follow along like a mindless grunt because that's what he always does when it came to his friends. A part of me felt like calling out to the group to see if I could wait out the storm alongside them, but they all seemed to be enjoying themselves, and I didn't want to get in between that. Plus, I did promise Ren that I'd wait for him here. Even if he was taking his sweet time. Was he ever going to return? There was still no sign of him or his comfy-looking cardigan, and I was beginning to wonder if he really did ditch me. After all, it must have been more than 15 minutes by now. What if he got caught up at something, or what if he went back to see that cashier lady again? Her store did happen to be on the same street, but after spending the afternoon with Ren and getting to know him, I concluded that he wasn't the type of person to do such a thing. You never know. Plus, that'd be a really low blow considering that he was the one who offered to take me out on a date today. Although, if I was being honest with myself, it did seem as though they had chemistry. Oh, honey. Especially with how she looked at him and touched his arm as though it was the most natural thing in the world. Girl, that... No. No. That's not... No. She apparently knew him as well, or at least he looked recognizable enough. Why did that thought make my blood boil? Thankfully, the rain was there to cool me off, as well as soak the ends of my outfit and make everything feel damp and uncomfortable. Was Ren really coming back? It shouldn't take this long to buy an umbrella. Either wait for Ren or just walk home alone. Now, Oh, let's wait for Ren. Maybe something did come up. I'm sure come back. Yeah, see, exactly. And as if on cue, I spot a familiar patch of pink hair from within the misty rain, frantically sprinting with an umbrella in one hand and a bag under the other. Angel? Looney? Ah! He almost slams into me before stopping just in time, and I could tell by the way he was wheezing that he ran all the way back here without stopping. Sorry, I thought I almost lost you there for a second. It's so hard to see in this weather. Geez, Ren, what took you so long? I almost wanted to cuss him out for taking well over 20 minutes just to buy a single umbrella, but the genuinely apologetic look on his features made me hold my tongue. Yeah, chill out. It's fine. Sorry, I ran into your friends from earlier, which took forever for me to shake them off. And then the convenience store ended up closing early due to the sudden weather change. So then I had to go to that awful souvenir shop with that obnoxious and clingy cashier again, and he was talking a mile a minute, and I was worried he'd end up biting his tongue. Gently, I raise a hand to signal him to calm down, and his intense monologue soon comes to a halt. I'm really sorry about making you wait so long, but... Ta-da! I did manage to get an umbrella, among other things as well. He gives it a small twirl in his hands, sending droplets of water all over the place. We can start heading back home now if you want, unless you want to go somewhere specific. We can go to my apartment. We can go to your apartment. Where do you want to go? Forget it. I'm going home alone. You know... I mean, I don't want to just, like, blow him off and be like, yeah, whatever. But... unless... I mean, that might be an interesting... that might lead to another ending, honestly. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say here. Forget it. I'm going home alone. Ren, you took way too long. I honestly thought you left me at this point. Huh? Why would I? Look, it doesn't matter. You've already wasted my time, and now I'm all soaked. I'm just gonna head home. Thanks for today, but after waiting for so long, I'm no longer in a good mood. Wait. He grabs onto my wrist again, but this time his grip was much stronger, almost as if he wanted to keep me here. No. Really? Turning to face him, I barely give him more than a second to explain himself before I decide to walk off. I was just... You wanted that Haruko plushie from earlier, right? I bought it on the way back. I really didn't think I'd take that long, but... As if to prove a point, he offers me the bag from under his arm. And true to his word, there was the plushie I was eyeing earlier, all wrapped up in a plastic casing to stop it from getting wet. It almost pulled at my heartstrings, and I would have found his consideration endearing like usual, but something about seeing Ren with that cashier from earlier still rubbed me the wrong way. For all I know, he could have been chatting her up while she was wrapped the toy. No, it's fine. You can keep it. I just want to go home, okay? So please let me go So please let go of my arm now. As if finally noticing his grip on me, Ren hesitantly lets go of my arm, but not before gently placing the bag into my arms for me to take and offering me a pitiful smile. Oh, why do I feel bad? Really, I was just buying this for you. I'm really sorry it took me so long. I merely offer him one final nod of my head before I turn on my heel. Whether or not he perceived that as me accepting his apology was up to him. You're really going? Wait, He reaches for my sleeve this time, and I felt him give it a faint tug before he lets go, almost as if he remembered my words from earlier. Please don't go. Please stay. I'll buy you something else. What about your favorite snack? Or do you want another cake? There's a convenience store nearby. Or maybe some more manga? We can go to the library instead. Was he seriously putting up that timid act again? After all this time, I don't even bother turning around at this point. Angel, please. Please don't go. I'm sorry. Let me make it up to you. Luney! His voice gets drowned out by the rain as I hurriedly run back home, using his bag as a makeshift umbrella. Oh, it makes me so sad. No. Oh, okay. Slamming the door shut, I immediately throw the bag in frustration before picking it back up and ensuring that the contents inside it were still okay. After all, while this poor Haruka plushie didn't deserve such horrid treatment, Ren sure did. I mean, not necessarily. Okay. Placing it back on the table, I decided to change out of my wet clothes and take a quick shower. There was no use in making things even worse by catching a cold. I could even check to see if Moth was online later and vent to them. God, I really wanted to scream right now. Once I was finished with my shower, I noticed how the plushie was no longer on the table where I left it. Strange. Did it fall off? I shuffle around the kitchen island, investigating, and the power suddenly turns off. Okay. Great. Now there's a blackout, too. In a pathetic attempt to not bump into anything, I fumble around for the cupboard under the sink to try and find some spare matches and candles. But as I do so, I barely make out the sound of my front door creaking open. Hi, Ren. Again. Me. Why are you doing this? You're not going to find anything here. It's just me. Nothing else exists here. Why don't you just play the game normally? It's not fun here. Nah. Okay. Yeah. It was just the same ending. Alright then. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go, buddy? Well, my place isn't far. We could wait out the storm there if you'd like. I even have a heater and dryer we could use. Oh my god, just got a heater and dryer, guys. The image of me sitting in front of a warm, cozy heater was too hard to resist, and I ended up agreeing with Ren's suggestion. Despite the heavy downpour of rain, we managed to make it to Ren's apartment complex in one piece. I guess he really wasn't lying when he said his apartment wasn't far from mine. But judging from the pristine interior and fully functioning elevator, his building seemed to be in far better shape compared to my apartment. The elevator ride could have been a little less awkward, though, if it weren't for the slow ascent and tacky music. Or for the fact that Ren deemed it appropriate to shake his hair like a wet dog and get water droplets of it. Oh, Ren, you're eccentric, all right. Once the elevator doors slid open, I was immediately met with a grandiose corridor and large, spacious doors, and I found myself wondering how much it costs to live in a place like this. Too much. Don't look too hard at how messy my place is, okay? I wasn't expecting to have someone over today, so I didn't bother cleaning up. I'm sure it's not as bad as my place, or the entire apartment I live in for that matter. Oh, that bad, huh? Maybe you could live with me instead. Sorry, did you say something? Ah, no, I mean, well, I was just thinking. It's a bit strange, but no one lives on this floor aside from me. I'm not really sure why, but I'm not gonna complain. I can make as much noise as I want and no one would notice. Ren shoots me a mischievous grin, and I find myself wondering what he meant by that. Yeah, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? I don't get it. Like loud like loud music and stuff? Movies? Yeah, something like that. Is this guy really coming on to me like this? Ren, Ren, honey, this is our first date. You, I would hardly count coffee as a drink. So, yeah, still need to do that. You need to buy me a drink. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, he unlocks the door with some electronic card attached to his keychain, and the moment the door swings open, I let out an audible gasp. Oh my god, he's loaded. Ren doesn't seem phased in the slightest as he flicks on the lights and walks into his own home, but I could only stand at the entrance to his foyer in shock. Yes, foyer. He had a whole damn foyer in his apartment. Was this even an apartment? Surely a penthouse would have made more sense. Holy shit, Ren. Is there something wrong? What is it? I know the decor is kind of tacky, but it came with the apartment, and I haven't found the time to do anything about it yet. I'm sorry, but are you the long-lost heir of a billionaire or something? This place is huge. And oh my god, is that marble? No, I get paid a lot for my job. Enough to afford rent at least. You know, I don't think I've asked you this yet, but what exactly is your job? And don't try to deflect question, which my job is, I guess you could say I'm a programmer. I don't know. I just take on a few jobs every so often. Nothing super fancy or anything. Nothing super fancy. Ren, you have marble flooring. Leaving the newly discovered programmer at the entrance, I curiously venture further into his apartment. Marble's a pain in the ass to clean, too. Oh, you mean like clean blood, right? Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, Angel, do you want some slippers? The floors can get cold and your shoes are probably soaked, right? Turning around, I notice Ren opening a small closet and pulling out a pair of dark cloud slippers. He looks on me with a curious expression, but makes no effort to hand them over. Well, only if you want them. I'll take them, but only because they might be only because they might be douchey. Ren lets out a puff of laughter through his nose at my joke, but doesn't seem to deny it. As I put them on, I noticed how they were in my exact size, and it made me wonder if he had bought a bunch of expensive house slippers in varying sizes. But as funny as that imagery was, how did Ren accurately guess my shoe size without seeing my feet? Well, I mean, technically, he probably did see my feet, but being able to accurately guess the shoe size off of just looking at them, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he compared it to his own shoe size. Whatever. Here, here, why don't I show you to the bathroom? I'll find you something to wear in the meantime, while your clothes are in the dryer. Or would you prefer a towel? Sorry, I don't usually invite people over. Seeing his timid side resurface once more gave me the sudden urge to tease him. Is it Egyptian cotton? Don't you have any That's mean. That's kind of mean. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be that mean anyway. Am I your first house guest? Oh, that seems a little too normal. Is it Egyptian cotton? Egyptian cotton? What's that? It's kind of in the name, Ren. I don't think my towels come from Egypt. I mean, that's pretty far away, and I can only imagine how expensive the shipping would be. You know what? Never mind. He actually looked like he was considering the question, and I had to roll my eyes. Oh, sweet, sweet summer child. especially at his comment on shipping being expensive. What were shipping costs to him if he could afford a place like this? So, uh, anyways, I'll show you to the bathroom. You can use whatever you want in there. Nothing is off limits. First, it was offering to spend the night at my place, then it was asserting himself as my boyfriend in front of my friends. He really doesn't care about personal boundaries, huh? I was beginning to think that Ren didn't really seem to mind when it came to me invading his personal bubble as well. Though he still seemed pretty standoffish around Tio and Leon, and it took him a while to warm up to Eleanor back at the library. But it, but it, but I chalked it up, all up to him being his usual shy and eccentric self. Speaking of being shy, I still noticed how Ren didn't seem to be switching up his personality as much anymore, and I was beginning to think that he was showing me his real side. Up until now, everything felt real and genuine, and I found that we could bounce back witty retorts. But up until now, everything felt real and genuine, and I found that we could bounce back witty retorts between each other more easily. Though every now and again he might slip up and stutter, but I just assumed it was because my teasing made him flustered. So maybe the timid side of him was genuine after all. But I'll leave some clothes for you outside and put the plushie I bought for you in your room. Huh? Oh, yeah, thanks. Wait, did you say my room? In your, he did say my room. I'm not, did I say it? Did you say you're staying the night? I don't remember this. I don't recall this. Oh, maybe we did. I just don't remember. Great, I was zoning out again and completely missed half of what he was saying. Something about clothes and a plushie he bought. Was he talking about the Haruko plushie I was eyeing up earlier? I mean, he was carrying a gift bag or from. Oh, yeah, that's right. All right. From that souvenir shop earlier, did he really buy me that toy? Ren, however, doesn't seem to pick up on my confusion, though, and invitingly opens the bathroom door for me with a small smile. And so, without trying to make things awkward, I quickly slip inside and lean against the door for support. Which was fortunate for me because one sweep of the bathroom had me stumbling back in surprise. Whoa. Even his restroom looked expensive. I was afraid of touching anything, fearing I'd accidentally break it and end up paying for it. Glancing around again, I noticed how his countertop seemed to be void of any dental care, hairbrushes, and skincare products, though a few bottles of concealer and an open box of hair dye sat in the corner near the sink. Well, I guess that answers my burning question on whether or not he naturally had pink hair. But now it made me wonder, if Ren does dye his hair, then what was his natural hair color? There were still so many things I didn't know about that soft-looking guy, and I was beginning to question whether coming here was a good idea or not. With a sigh, I decided not to waste any more time thinking about irrelevant things and instead turned my attention back to the shower. Quickly stripping out of my clothes, I jumped into the unnecessarily large glass booth and turned in the water room. Glancing at Ren's shelf of, albeit limited, hair products, I couldn't help but notice that one brand in particular just so happened to be the exact same as mine. Did he use the same shampoo? He didn't really smell like me, but maybe that was because I wasn't paying much attention. I mean, who randomly smells people out of the blue anyway? I could name a few people. Shaking my head at such a silly notion, I began to scrub away the lingering smell of rain from my body and quickly finish washing up. Bundled up in a warm towel, I cracked open the large door and poked my head out into the hallway. True to his word, Ren left a small pile of clothing outside the bathroom, neatly stacked and propped against the side of the wall. Bringing the contents back inside, I noticed that one piece of clothing. Ugh. Stop it, man. One piece of clothing in particular was a rather comfy-looking hoodie. Hell yeah, I love hoodies. But the design on the front, however, was rather morbid-looking and didn't really suit Ren's vibes. maybe from a horror film or something. Shrugging my shoulders, I put the hoodie on and instantly get enveloped by the sheer amount of fabric. Yes, it's probably a tent. It's probably like a circus tent to me. I mean, it made sense considering Ren's large and leaky frame, but this was just absurd. I had to stifle a laugh from the amusing sight in the fogged up mirror, but I had to admit that the soft fabric felt nice and warm against my skin. Even the scent that came from it felt oddly comforting somehow. Turning back to the remaining clothes in the pile, I gently pick up the next item and try to put it on. The gray sweatpants didn't seem to fit the length of my legs despite the number of times I tried to roll up the elastic. Oh, jeez. But luckily, Ren was thoughtful enough to give me other alternatives. Aw, good guy. The dark pair of shorts seemed like the better option, especially since it came with a drawstring and deep pockets. Ho 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 ho. Once I was fully dressed, I stepped out of the bathroom and aimlessly walked around until I heard the faint sounds of a TV playing. Feeling curious, I followed the source of the sound down the hallway. Breaking news, a sudden storm hits the bay as gale force winds and knock over street signs and even awnings. Guests believe that this sudden change in weather will die down soon and to stay safe and I continue to follow the noise until it suddenly cuts out and changes into a blaring monotone sound, indicating that the television must have lost all signal. And soon enough, I found myself in Ren's spacious lounge room. Aside from the TV, the rest of the lights were off, but I could still make out most of the dark shapes within the room with ease. It was just as ostentatious, yeah, I think, as the rest of his house, though I couldn't help but feel like it lacked any form of life. It just didn't seem like someone actually lived here. The furniture was gaudy yet tasteless. There was hardly any personal decoration or colors, and there was nothing that really screamed Ren to me. There were no personal touches, photos, items, hobbies, nothing. Just tacky furniture and the bland smell of something sterile. Mm. Mm. If I was being honest, it gave off the same vibe as a dentist's clinic or a hospital. Ah, yeah, that's not typically a good sign. Maybe he recently moved it. No, I don't think it would. I don't think that's a good explanation either. Who moved in? Surprised by the sudden voice, I spin on my heel only to find Ren coming out from one of the hallways with a new set of comfy clothing. You seem much more at ease like this, especially with the gentle expression in his face. I watch as he takes a respectful glance at my attire before sheepishly averting his attention to the ends of his sleeve. Sorry, that's the smallest pair of clothing that I own. It looks really good on you, though. Oh, thanks. You can even keep it if you want. The sound of thunder rumbling in the distance cuts off Ren's mumbling, and I involuntarily step closer to him. Without missing a beat, he reaches out and rests a protective hand on my shoulder to steady me. Oh, how romantic. Ren idly glances out of the window before turning his undivided attention back to me once more, only this time with a determined look. It's really pouring, huh? I could only nod my head at his words, suddenly feeling sheepish all of a sudden. I really should have checked the weather forecast before I went out today. But to be fair, it didn't look as though it'd start spontaneously raining when I left my apartment this morning. And I guess I was enjoying my time with Ren to the point where I didn't even realize the weather was turning sour. Angel? Sorry, what did you say? Uh, I just asked if you wanted to stay the night here. You know, seeing how hard it's raining out there and your clothes haven't finished drying yet. Now, now listen. Normally, I would not be doing this. Normally, this is a very, very bad idea. I mean, considering, not even considering the fact that we know the meta, but I mean, staying over at someone's house after knowing, meeting them like literally a day before and going on their first date with them, that's just, mm, yeah, it's a no. That's gonna be a no from me, dog. It'd be no, it'd be no trouble. I really wouldn't mind at all, but only if you want to, of course. Staying at his place for the night? Well, this certainly isn't how I expected to end my day. But would it really be that bad? It definitely beats waiting out the storm and walking home with a bunch of puddles everywhere. Oh, I really get to. Oh, wait, okay. I was about to say, oh, I really get to choose. Yeah, sure, something like that. Um, um, what was that? Did I really want to stay the night at Rune's place? I guess I did. I couldn't really remember otherwise. I guess I could stay the night. That's really okay with you. Yeah, of course. It's totally fine. Oh, my rodents. Hey, you should crush the yandere's head with a really big rock. I crushed the alien. What he hasn't done anything yet that we know of. It's fine. Wow, he really wasn't an energetic, eccentric man, wasn't he? Let me know if you need any more pillows or blankets, or if the room gets too cold. I haven't worked out how to use the fancy heater system yet, but I can definitely try. Also, you already know where the bathroom is, but if you... Okay, I think I get it. Got it, Ren. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, man. I shoot him a reassuring smile as I turn to face him at the door. I should have gotten used to his attentive and observant behavior by now, but it still felt like a foreign side of him that I hadn't fully uncovered. Still, at least he wasn't stuttering as much anymore. I know. Sorry. I just want you to be as comfortable as possible. So just treat this house like it's your own. All right, gotcha. He looks like he doesn't want to leave and instead lingers in front of the door a little while longer. Are you sure there isn't anything else you need? Anything at all? Hmm. I enjoy these games too much. Can I get a good night kiss? Or can I sleep in your bed? Jesus Christ. That's a bit much. What's behind that locked door? Mm. Yeah, what is behind that locked door, Ren? Now? What's behind that locked door? I didn't even know there was a locked door. No, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, yeah, I feel like this is a bit too forward. Little much, but just in case I'm gonna save. Can I get a good night kiss, perhaps? Oh, oh, oh. Did I really just ask that? I mean, I guess I did want to lighten the mood a bit, but that seemed a bit too much. Oh, no. It's not like I could have asked to sleep in his bed. Oh, almost sheepishly. I dared to look up and gauge Ren's reaction. He seems to be taking it just as awkwardly as I was. Ah, crap. I'm sorry. Judging from how red his face and neck gets. Just kidding. I don't really know why I... Before I could react, Ren was already leaning down and pressing his soft lips against my own. I barely noticed his hand gently coming to hold my shoulder to keep me steady as his head tilts to the side. This kiss was brief and chaste, but it still made the both of us flustered. Is that okay? Well, okay, good. I'm glad. Bye. Before I can even respond, he's already turning on his heels and speed walking towards his own room. Good night. Shaking my head at his odd behavior, I closed the door behind me and slowly make my way towards the bed. I noticed that the Haruko plushie Ren had bought earlier was sitting atop the sheets, and I gently brought it closer to my chest to give it a soft squeeze. So he really did buy this for me after all. The faintest hint of cherry and mint emits from this toy and makes my mind drift to thoughts of that strange, pink-haired man once more. He was still as odd as usual, but some parts of him were starting to feel rather endearing. I noticed how he was no longer stuttering as much or acting as shy, and it made me wonder if we were getting closer. Now that I really thought about it, how did I feel about Ren? How do I feel about Ren? He's kind of creepy. I think he's alright. I think I like him. I'm crushing on him. I wouldn't say I'm crushing on him. I mean, he is cute, but let's not, you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves, shall we? I think I like him. Okay, so I guess he was kind of cute and endearing in his own way. In a cute but murdery way. Ren was very considerate and attentive towards me today, which I really liked, and he even bought me a plushie without being asked. That instantly raised him from a 4 out of 10 to a solid 7 out of 10. He was only a 4 out of 10. Oh, dang. Ren certainly had boyfriend potential. Does he, though? I mean, I guess he is kind of sweet, but like, it's a bit early to make that claim. But things were still too awkward between us for it to lead in that direction. Yeah, but still, it was nice to think about. Yeah, honestly, actually, I believe that this game has alternative scenes, which I have purposely avoided because, well, first of all, I don't even think Twitch would approve of such scenes, but yeah, I'd like this to be as generally. I mean, there are mature themes in this game. I will not lie about that. I did put a warning out there on my Twitter before playing this game, but like before playing any of these games, that they have mature themes. They're yandere games, so of course they're gonna have violence and um just very scary themes, um or morbid themes. But I did not want to add any spiciness to the mix. Um, Maybe someday I'll play this game and do a run of that, and then put a video like that on a Patreon or something. That's what other YouTubers do nowadays, isn't it? Rolling onto my side, I hug the plushie closer so I can be surrounded by his comforting scent and slowly drift off to sleep. End of day 2. The next day will soon begin, so make sure to save now if you need to. I think I'm good. I just saved.